Hi guys, although we're at the mid-February point now and the weather's freezing cold, you might not be thinking too much about gardening, but now is the time to be starting to plant. Okay, so we're going to have a little conversation today all about composts and barks, just so if you're buying online or you're ringing us up, or if you come into the nursery and you see that we've got over 20 different types of compost and soil conditioner and over 5 or 6 different types of bark, just so you know what you're looking at and what the differences are. Okay, right, so we'll start with this time of year. Everyone's thinking of either sowing seeds or taking cuttings. So the first thing we need to do for that is this seed and cutting compost. This is a Grow Sure product, so it's from Westland. Okay, the good thing about this is it's got vermiculite in it, so it's a very fine compost, but it's also got added vermiculite, which makes vermiculite is like a volcanic material which encourages drainage and makes the compost more aerated. Okay, so that's a really good thing, and it's also got some seaweed extract in it as well. So for all your seed sowing and your cuttings, this is the one. This is $5.99. We're currently on promotion at 3 for $15 on that one. Okay, now multi-purpose compost. We have about 5 or 6 different multi-purpose composts. So if you bear with us, we'll go and have a look at those. Okay, so the standard level multi-purpose compost is a Vitax. This is a really good compost. This is a 56 litre bag. It's basically peat based. It's a really good quality one. We grow in this at the moment. Okay, this is $5.99, 3 for $15. Okay, this will be, when this runs out, we'll be replacing it with the Evergreen, which is just as good. And that's in a slightly smaller bag at 50 litre, and that'll be $4.99, 3 for 12. Okay, so these are like predominantly peat based composts. There's no recycled green waste in there, and it's a high quality product. Okay, another one is the GrowWise. Now GrowWise, if you've got your environmental hat on, GrowWise is another good compost. Again, it's quite a fine grade compost, but the good thing about this one is it does have some recycled green waste in it, so there is less peat in there. So if you are conscious about peat use, this is a good one for you. It's a 50 litre bag and it's $4.99, 3 for £12, so good value again. Okay, moving over to the Westland products, the best selling compost, and what I think is definitely one of the best, is the Jack's Magic. That's still predominantly peat based. It's got extra seaweed in it, it's fine, so you can use it for seed sowing too. It's great for repotting, for baskets and containers, basically for everything. It's a really good all-rounder. That's 50 litre bag, that's on at 2 for £12. There is a deal on that, you can buy 10 bags for 50 quid, because we know people do like to stock up on that one. Okay. Another one, this is what I would class as the best of both worlds. So again, if you're thinking environmentally, this one has been peat reduced, but not with green waste this time. This has got a new fibre replacement, which is brilliant. They call it the, I think it's the Big 3. Here we go. But basically, it's got a lot of fibre in it, it's open, it's got the John Innes in it, so you can use it for putting shrubs in. So it's the multi-purpose with added John Innes. That is $5.99, 3 for $15. And that's a 50 litre bag, so that's really good. So it's reduced its peat over the last few years, but you've still got that John Innes base, you can still grow shrubs in pots with this. Okay, if you're making hanging baskets and containers, then we have one specifically for it. This is your Westland container and basket. This has got everything you need in there, so it's got extra 6-month fertiliser, it's got water retaining gel in there, it's brilliant. So anything like window boxes, baskets, anything that's going to need a bit of extra watering, that's what you need. Now this one is on at a straight $6.99 because it is more of a premium product, 50 litre bag. Okay. Now then, if we come this way, we'll go to see the John Innes. Now, John Innes compost is basically like a soil or loam based compost, and the idea of this is if you're putting a shrub in a pot and you want it to stay in a pot for the rest of its life, for example Buxus, okay, then you need something like a John Innes number 3. John Innes number 3, there's basically 3 numbers with the John Innes range, there's 1, 2 and 3. So John Innes number 3 is a long-term mature plant compost. Okay, so these are in 35 litre bags at $5.99, 3 for $15. So this is almost like soil, but it's got compost with it as well. So it's called a loam based compost. So putting a shrub in a pot for the rest of its life, This is good because it'll hold nutrients and moisture for longer, and it won't just sort of leach through after a year. Okay, so that's number 3. We also sell number 1, which is more for your seeds and your cuttings. It's a weaker compost. You also use it for succulents. So people buy this, think it's a young plant compost. Oh, I'm going to plant some plants in a pot, I better use this. No, this is just for cuttings, seedlings and succulents. Alright, because it's weak. Now we don't bother with the John Innes number 2 because all the multi-purposes will act as a John Innes number 2, like the multi-purpose John Innes. Okay, so then we have ericaceous composts. We sell 3 different types of ericaceous compost. This is the John Innes ericaceous. That again can be mixed in the deal at $5.99, 3 for 15. So if you're putting a rhododendron or an azalea or anything in the ericaceae family, which are things like berberis, magnolias, camellias, heathers, rhododendrons, all those sort of things need to go in ericaceous compost, because if you put them in normal compost, they can't extract the nutrients because of the low pH that they need to feed from. So this is the John Innes based one. We also sell a normal peat based one, which has got an extra feed in it. I'll show you that in a minute. But unbelievably now, we sell an actual peat free. So more and more people want to go peat free these days. Okay. Now there is a debate to be had about that. I don't think we'll have it on here just yet, but because some of the peat-free composts aren't necessarily made in the most environmentally sustainable way. So sometimes there is an argument that some of the peat-reduced composts are probably better for the environment than a pure peat-free at the moment. But this is made in a sustainably environmental way, and this is peat-free ericaceous. It's from Melcore, and it's basically been classed as an award winner. I think it won an award with Which magazine. So that one is $9.99. They're not the cheapest. 50 litre bag, $9.99. But you know, if that's what you want and you want to be environmentally friendly, this is the one to buy for your rhododendrons and azaleas and such like. Okay, another peat-free compost is Melcourt again. This is Melcourt Silver Grow. This is probably one of the best. Okay, it's a nice fine compost, 100% peat-free, and again done in a really sustainable manner. Another peat-free compost we do is New Horizon. So sorry, the Melcourt was $8.99 on that one. Okay, this is New Horizon peat-free compost by Westland. Okay, this is $6.99 2 for 12 for a 50 litre bag. Okay. While we're here, if you're growing roses, we now have a specific rose compost. It's got extra zinc in it, it's got extra iron in it, extra potash, because obviously roses are that little bit more hungry than other plants. So this is a 60 litre bag. It's a straight $6.99, but it's everything you need for potting your roses on, for top dressing roses. Good stuff. Okie dokie. So I'll just show you the ericaceous peat based, and then we'll look at soil conditioners and improvers. Okay. So, ericaceous again, going back to that, this is a peat based ericaceous from Westland. Okay, again, it's got all the added nutrients that you need to grow a nice healthy azalea or a camellia or a rhododendron. Okay, so if you're growing it in a pot, use the John Innes based one. If you're just planting it in the ground, this is the one for you. Okay, another old-fashioned way of planting ericaceous plants, and it leads us nicely onto soil conditioners, is just peat. Now again, the great thing about some of these peat now is a lot of the peat bogs in Ireland have been closed because of the environmental impact that it's having by harvesting peat to too deeper levels. So now they're taking them from areas that are being protected and that where it isn't harming the flora and fauna. So this peat had been taken here, non-scientific interest sites. Okay, so that peat is going to be great for improving your soil. Okay, for planting ericaceous plants because it's naturally acid in its nature. So if you want to improve soils, this is a great thing to do. You can pile it over a clay area, dig it in. The acidity in the peat breaks the clay down, and it also sticks to the clay and stops it clogging. Okay, so that's a really good soil conditioner. That is $8.99 for a 100 litre bale. Now then, if you don't want to use peat, over here we have another brilliant conditioner. Now this is one that we've probably one of our best sellers. It's 4 bags for 12 quid, so the value's there. Okay, it's a 40 litre bag. It is basically recycled green waste, but it's made into a really lovely compost texture. The good thing about this is it'll help break clay down again. All right, it'll really open your soil up. and you can combine it with topsoil to make a lovely planting medium. So what we do is we offer, a lot of people this time of year are filling up raised beds and filling up borders. So if you want to do that, we do an offer on this: 14 bags of this organic soil conditioner with 10 bags of topsoil, and that's £70 plus your delivery charge. So usually about £75 delivered locally. That's the equivalent of a ton in volume, so like a big grab bag. And the good thing about it is we'll deliver it round the back for you, so there's less lifting, it's nice and clean to handle. Alright, so that's that soil conditioner. Now then, moving forwards, this is a great soil conditioner. This is Westland Gardener's soil conditioner. The difference between this one and the other is this has more manure in it. Okay, so more organic, naturally occurring organic matter. It does smell a little bit, but it does wonders for the plants. So this is 3 bags for 15 quid, or we'll do 15 bags delivered for 60 quid. Okay, that's a really good deal. Another one that's similar to that, we'll go down this edge, is farmyard manure. So this is pure farmyard manure. Okay, this is buy 2 get a 3rd bag for free. So these are £6.99 a bag, and again we do that deal where you buy 16 of these for 60 quid delivered. Okay, this is brilliant for, again, improving your soil, feeding your beds. It's just like compost when you get it out of the bag, but it does smell a bit. Alright, so it might be best to have that delivered. Right, moving forward, we've done other conditioners. One other conditioner, which is the Rolls Royce of soil conditioners. So if you've got really bad clay. Okay, the Rolls Royce of soil conditioners is Keith Singleton's Just Naturally. Locally made up in Cumbria. Okay, it's not mass produced, it's a really, really nice product. Okay, it's peat free. It's great for improving your soil, breaking clay down, or just planting with. I planted as a test directly in this, grew geraniums last year. They're absolutely fantastic. So it is, you can use it as a compost as well. Okay, so what it is it's made from composted bark, straw, animal manure and seaweed. Okay, it's all composted down to make a lovely black, almost like a compost. So when we're doing planting jobs for people, we always finish the job off with this instead of bark, because it just looks so nice and black. And we also plant with this. This is £8.99, 2 for 16 on a multi-buy, but it's well worth it. And it's a big bag, 60 litre bag. All right, okay guys. So mixing with the 14 bags for the £70 offer, we do 10 bags of this enriched topsoil. It's grade 1 topsoil, really fine, good for turfing, good for planting, good for anything. It's also got a bit of added nutrients in it as well, because sometimes with topsoil you don't always know what your nutrient value is going to be. So you can plant directly into that and you know that stuff's going to grow well. Now, the good thing about these is we do a deal on these. We do 10 bags for £38, or we mix it in with the 28 bags, the 24 bags, sorry, for £70. All right, so that's your topsoil, or you can just buy the odd bag at £4.99, 3 for £12. Over here, we've got lawn and turf dressing. So if we're doing any work on our lawns this Easter, this is the stuff to use. So this is great for turfing. It's also good if you're aerating your lawns, okay, and you're looking for something to brush into those gaps to make those little pockets of drainage. This is the stuff. This is lawn and turf dressing. That's not to be confused with lawn sand, which we sell. Lawn sand is to be put on the lawn to kill moss and such like. All right, it's not for drainage. This is for drainage. Okay. Anything we haven't covered? Grow bags. Okay, so a lot of people are used to the cheap grow bags that were like maybe £2, £2.99. They've gradually become unsustainable to produce now. So a lot of the compost companies aren't supplying the small thin grow bags, and to be honest, they weren't really any use at growing things either. So they are now doing the deep fill. Okay, so this is the Big Tom planter. Okay, it's full of nutrients. Okay, so added potash, added water retention as well, and it's also a lot deeper. This is also like quite a few inches thick, and when it's fluffed up it makes a decent planting material for tomatoes and your courgettes. These are great if you've got limited space. If you've got a greenhouse and you can afford the room, then we'd recommend using some nice large planters, something like a 35 litre pot or a 15 litre pot minimum, and plant your tomatoes in there. They'll get a far better yield and a far better root system doing it like that, and plant them in something like a multi-purpose bed in John Innes or a Jack's Magic. Alright, but if you are struggling for space, then this is your best option now. This is the Big Tom. planter. It's £5.99 and it's £3.50. Okie dokie. That brings us pretty much to the close. What we're going to look at now is bark. So we'll go down to the bottom because we've got 5 different types of bark, believe it or not. So let's find out what the differences are. So if you're barking up a large area, obviously the purposes of bark are to retain moisture, trap the moisture into the soil, number 1, to stop weeding, number 2, and to keep a bit of warmth in the soil as well, number 3. Okay, so that's the point of bark. This is landscape bark. Okay, so this is 100 litre compressed bale, weighs a lot. Okay, we do £8.99, 2 for £16. Now these, if we look, turn it round, it tells you handily on the back. If you're doing beds and borders and pathways, 2.5 centimetres deep, 4 metres squared, 5 centimetres deep, a thicker layer, 2 metres squared per bag. So just so you can work out what you're buying. Now that, it's heavy stuff. Okay, so that's £8.99, 2 for £16. That's a larger chip. Okay, so that's a mixed wood but a larger chip. If you want the same thing in a mini chip, we do the mini chip bark here in 100 litre bales. 2 for £16. Okay, so that'll cover the same area, it's just a thinner chip. If you want a smaller bag, we do the mini bark in a 50 litre. That's £6.99, buy 2 get a third for free, and that's the Westland mini chip. Very similar to the other one, but just in a smaller bag. If you want something a little bit fancier in the bark, then we do these wonderful pine bark. These are a lovely golden nugget. It never rots because it's pine, so it lasts a lot longer than the other barks, which have softwood in them. Okay, a bit more decorative, but that is more expensive. That's £9.99 for 50 litres. If you don't want to use bark, whether it be for environmental reasons or whether you just don't like the fact that it blows off now and again or the birds steal it, then let's have a look at this. This is called weed stop. This is made from a fibre from Westland. Again, 100% natural. These bags are frozen, so they weigh a ton at the minute. Here we go. The good thing about the weed stop, okay, is it looks just like soil. Okay, it's a black fibre. You put it onto the borders, it knits together, so it stops anything coming through, so it really does work well for stopping weeds. It goes a long way, a little bit further than bark. You have one bag covers 2.4 square metres. Alright, but that will make a lovely sort of black earthy look to the border without having to weed it. So there's your barks. We do multi-buys on these, so for example the landscape bark, if you're doing a big area and you think, oh, I'll be cheaper to go and buy a ton bag from a builder's merchants, we'll beat that price. Okay, we'll deliver you 9 of those for a price that's cheaper than the bulk bag. So just inquire, or you go online, you'll see that. All these products can be bought on Newgate Direct and delivered to your door. You can click and collect if you don't want to come in, but we are open for business, so come on down and let's get stocked up for spring.